Recording.
All right, we're live on YouTube. We are live here, everybody. Welcome. Let me get the chat room up. Yep, I was having some difficulty with some of the technical issues. Hold on one second. All right. I was just actually messaging somebody back too. Welcome, everybody. We are here live. This is the Space Water Podcast, live on YouTube. Of course, my name is Ra Castaldo. Thank you, guys. It's definitely well worth the wait joining us here at the Mystical Spiral store and exploring the Ka. Of course, we're sponsored by the Mystical Spiral store, which guys will show you. I actually was just working on some new products this morning, and really, really happy to be able to share these guys with you. Oh, I have 2 lives. Oh, you know what? The other one, the first one I tried to do, shouldn't have 2 lives up there. Let me see if I can get rid of one of them. I only see 1 lives up there right now. The other one, because I was gonna start, I backed out of it. I only see 1 when I go up on there. Oh wait, no, I deleted it. I think I deleted it good now. All right, I think you guys got me now. What's up, Chloe, in the chat room? Is my daughter watching? Hi, Tana, if you're watching in the other room. I love you, baby. I think she might be watching me there. Tana, yeah, baby, she is watching, see? Hi, baby. Yeah, so maybe I think I deleted it, so maybe people are gonna come over. So there's 2 streams out there, everybody, but the one stream is deleted, so hopefully people will find it. Of course, this is the Exploring the Ka channel on YouTube. We are sponsored by the Mystical Spiral store, and this is the Space Water Podcast. You're also going to be able to find an audio version of a separate Space Water podcast. I'm not going to be doing I could also re-upload these as audios, but I'm going to do a separate audio podcast of similar topics that I'm talking about here on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network. And there's a lot of different shows on that network. I think it's run by a guy named Chris Matthew. I've been on one of his podcasts before. I think it's his podcast is called Forbidden Knowledge News or something like that as well. It's a similar. I think it's called that. I forget. Excuse me, Chris, if you're out there and listening, if I got the wrong name, but my friend Don Rogers, Canadian Spinja, his wife, and various other people have shows on that network that get broadcasted on that network. And I figured it'd be good for me to do an audio podcast on another network because I was doing one for many, many years for it on Truth Frequency Radio Network, TFR. And then before that, it was on the Para X Radio Network. So I always like to do an audio podcast, and it's a shame that I haven't been able to continue that. So I'm gonna partner up with the Forbidden Knowledge News Network and offer my Space Water podcast on there as well. So you guys will be able to find that in the future there. And I'll be doing the same similar formats where a majority of the shows I do by myself, and then like once or twice a month I have a guest on. And I'm very limited with the guests I have on because I feel like when you have a guest on, you're promoting their work and who they are and their research. And in a way, I mean, you don't have to agree with it. Of course, you don't have to agree with everybody because that's one flaw I think humanity has right now with a lot of things is that a lot of people think that if you don't agree on something, you can't be friends. You can't be still um okay with each other, right? And that's a weird thing. Like you're telling me that we're not allowed to have different opinions about things, and if we do, we're not on the same team anymore. All of a sudden, it's like it's a personal thing because you don't have the same opinion as me. And I've witnessed it in families, I've witnessed it with close friends. All of a sudden, everything's perfect in the relationship until all of a sudden you have a different opinion than them on something. And then they take it personal, right? That's such a weird thing. And it's such an ego driven, disgusting thing that who do you think who does the person think they are? Just because your opinion might be different than somebody else's, you think that you're so above them that if they're not on your side, then you're just gonna cut them out or just like act like that's weird to me. And that's like it's actually insane. It's a form of insanity to me. That's truly in a form of being insane. So uh I've gotten into fist fights with friends and been friends like an hour later again. Like, I mean, what the hell? I don't have problems with getting into arguments even with friends sometimes over something as long as you hash it out. I mean, it's not right to fist fight. I mean, I'm just using that as an example. Like when I was younger, as teenagers and early 20s, like I can't even tell you how many fist fights I got with friends. Just, over something stupid sometimes. That's just how boys and men, young men sometimes hash things out. But especially in the culture I grew up in, I grew up in a very fighting environment. A lot of my people like combat sports and stuff like that too. But I also am partnershipping up with the Murillo Ninja Hua and Shogun Fight Team Promotions. I interviewed Murillo Ninja Hua the other night. He's a longtime combat sports um, champion, and he fought all over the world. And now, of course, he's retired and doing the next chapter in his life. And he wants to, him and his brother have a fight promotion in Brazil, and they want to expand to the United States. So I'm gonna try to see if I can help with that expansion, and that'll be fun as well. So people, I'm gonna I started a whole separate channel for those that are interested in combat sports as well in martial arts. So that's called Combat Sports TV International. You can also find it by typing in MMA Shaman. So that I also post those videos on this channel for people that do like it, but majority of the people on this channel don't watch MMA or any type of combat sports or boxing or kickboxing or Muay Thai or anything like that. So I have a whole separate channel for that specifically as well if you're into that. And of course, I also have the other channel, the Mystical Spiral channel right here on YouTube. And you can find all the copper and gemstone products that I do on there as well as clips on this channel. And today's show, like I said, is sponsored by our store, the Mystical Spiral Store. And I'll show you guys real quick the website before we get started today. And we're going to be talking about different names of what Vayu is and how these mantras and hymns, Vedic hymns, are used to tap into the solar storms, the streams of light that come from the sun, and the spiritual significance of all of these streams, and the powerful storms we're being bombarded with right now during a powerful alignment we have going on with the Mars Jupiter conjunction, right? It's about solar expansion as well during this, and the certain, oh, my daughter's in the chat room. See, Tana, shout out to Tana and Mika, Magic Micah, Magic Michelle, and Magic Tana in the house. Everybody's magic. Hey, Lynn, Lisa Lynn as well. So right now, they call this alignment with Mars, Jupiter in Vedic astrology, if you want to say ancient Vedic astrology, which is, I don't tend to follow daily astrology. I have my own way of doing my own daily connection with the cosmos, but I do take a look at Vedic alignments a lot, and I look at Vedic astrology as that's one of the astrologies I do take a look at throughout the year with certain alignments, and they have an alignment that's called the all-powerful Guru Mangala yoga alignment, and that's with the Mars Jupiter conjunction. And this is about expansion. This is about solar expansion. This is about growth. This is about explosive energy as well that's going on right now. So there's incredible expansion, explosive energy that's happening out of nowhere. And this, you can tap into this to completely destroy yourself or to expand your wealth, your health, and things like that, and your wisdom and light and abundance, right? You can explosively change your life. And Jupiter is about expansion as well. This is the energy of expansion. And there's certain cosmic winds in Vedic hymns and mantras, and they use certain names as deities to invoke and to tap in to the harmony and sound of the light. And here on the Space Water podcast, we're diving into the sound of the light. That's one of the quotes and merch we're going to have available for you guys on shirts and sweatshirts. So when you talk about Vayu, this is a very interesting name and one of the oldest names of the Vedic gods, right? And Vayu is about wind, cosmic winds, more specifically the solar winds. But there's Vayu on all levels, right? There's also the internal winds of who we are. There's also the electricity and lightning and all these forms of Vayu that exist within Vedic mythologies and Vedic mantras and hymns of Sanskrit, right? So we're going to be getting into that, different forms of Vayu, because Vayu in Vedic, and with the Vedic deities, Vayu is about expansion, it's about vibration, it's about cosmic energy and expanding the sound of the light, right? It's about Vayu's nature is about cosmic life force and the electrical properties, electrical energy, the lightning, and everything that's coming from the sun, the winds that's coming from the sun. And the Maruts are these beings, these deities that travel within the cosmic winds and make all the particles get excited and interact with each other to bring creation in the light, right? It's incredible. And this is all different. Vayu comes in different forms in different deities. There's that name Vayu, right? It's itself is about expansion. Then it comes as Vata, and Vata is Vayu's nature as its cosmic life force. City Life Project, shout out to Isha, right? And yeah, this is what Tesla was about as well. Harnessing the fire from the sun, the lightning from the sun, catching it in a net, right? Diving and harnessing the sound of the light, because it's all, the light moves through sound and vibration, the plasma, the streams of plasma that's coming from the sun. It all has to do with frequency and harmonic vibrations and sounds, right? And that's the Rudra force. In Vedic symbolism and Vedic deities, Vayu comes in the form of Rudra as the howling force of the primal sounds of the universe. Rudra is the howler of the sun, the howler of the stars, right? He howls the power of creation and sound, right? And that's incredible. And Vayu also comes in the form of Parjanya, right? Which is the storm, the solar storms, the winds and storms, and the solar rain that comes down, right? Fire from the sky that comes down. And Indra is also a form of Vayu, but it's as the ruling power and militant force, the Lord, right? And Vayu is very intelligent, uh primal force of the universe that's in the brain of God, right? It's one of the deities of Vedic and Hindu, but more specifically, I think it's one of the aspects of the universe that's put into mantra and hymn form. So when they chant these mantras and hymns, they're literally aligning themselves with those streams of light, harnessing those streams of light through the sounds they emit from their body. The Sanskrit hymns and mantras are literally talked about as being a language of the gods. They're made after the primal sounds of the universe that they call the way they put it is the Sanskrit language arose from the sound of Shiva's cosmic drum, right? It's the primal sounds of the universe. And when they chant these hymns and mantras, they're literally chanting the sounds of the universe and harmonizing with those sounds and guiding souls even to after death and things like that, to specific places, star forming regions where they can immortalize themselves and evolve into suns and stars, right? Because we have all the particles and elements of a sun and star within our bodies, right? We have all those particles and elements. And if we're able to harmonize those and align those with with the streams of plasma coming from all the suns and stars, there's a way to immortalize yourself. And we even have certain stars that are doing this in the center of our Milky Way galaxy. We even have they're called the S series of stars. They're near Sagittarius A, and they actually don't understand the way these stars can be so young and yet being so big and doing unimaginable things. And they're right in the center of our Milky Way galaxy, and they're near SGRA. You guys can look it up. I think I talked about it with Gary Wayne a little bit on the show, and I even have it. I think one of the other shows we talked about it as well. But they're so close to the center of the Milky Way, and scientists are using this term like they're dark matter, dark energy, but they really don't know. I think it's an exotic form of plasma, of matter, another state of matter. Plasma is another state of matter, right? You have solids, liquids, gases, and plasma. And what for people that are new to my channel and out there might not even understand what plasma is, I'm basically like a senior undergraduate level in plasma physics. I went through the math and also the terminologies and everything, so I can actually explain how they're talking about this in mythology thousands of years ago, but they're talking about it in a spiritual and poetic way, right? So plasma is when you superheat matter or gases so hot where the electrons are being stripped away, right, to form another form of matter, right? So you're actually like it's like evolving something into another state of matter, right? And we even have plasma here when we see lightning storms, even down to candle flames, in my opinion. But like you see them in even those little plasma balls where people touch them and the electrical lightnings inside of them. Those are those plasma neon things, right? Neon lights and things. Those are, but more specifically, all suns and stars are plasma, right? They teach us in school that suns are hydrogen gas spheres. That's an archaic way of looking at it. They're not. They're plasma stars, right? Plasma spheres. And plasma is another state of matter, right? The fourth state of matter. And it's interconnecting everything. 99.99% of the mass of the universe is plasma, right? It's when you see nebulas, that's millions of light years of plasma, right? When you see suns and stars, they are plasma, right? And they have streams of plasma, emanations, light that comes from them, different forms of light. And the light carries all the information for creation, evolution, sustenance, destruction, all of that, and rebirth. All of those codes is a beautiful music, a sound, a frequency that comes from the suns and stars. And that sound waves over the planet, and the plants and everything receives the light so they can grow. And it's a music that comes in. And they even call it an electron-driven chorus when the electrons come into the magnetosphere and broadcast a chorus from the plasma waves around Earth. And I've been showing how they talk about this in mythology. Now we have stars that are immortalizing themselves. And for those that are new to my channel, I've talked about the ancient Vedic wars of the Asura Deva tribes, right? These Asura Deva tribes are ancient, powerful seers and kings, solar kings, that were harnessing the energy and knowledge of the suns and stars through mantras and hymns. And some of them wanted to use these powers that they were harnessing to rule as gods. And they went to war over the light. In the Vedic Rig Veda and the Mahabharata, all these stories, right? They talk about what the Vedic wars of the Asura Devas were. It was over the rays of the sun, over the light. They were fighting over the light. And the reason why they were fighting over the light, because they wanted to harness the light, to extend the light, to achieve immortality. They wanted to become stars and suns themselves and rule in the cosmos as immortalized suns and stars that never decay, right? And rule as one of the gods, right? So we have stars that are doing this now. And they're finding new ones, right? There's stars that are in our center, in the core of our Milky Way galaxy, and that would make sense because that's the most powerful spot. It's where the supermassive black hole is, right? The most powerful things in the universe to harness energies from, right? And they're right there near SGRA. It's a very interesting spot. SGRA, Sagittarius A, right? And, you know, astronomers, and they're trying to figure out how these stars have the characteristics that they have. So they're giving some sort of theories, and one of the theories is that they think that they're using some sort of mysterious or magical dark matter or dark energy, which I said before, I think is just another exotic form of plasma that I don't truly understand. But they're using this as an energy source to extend the light, to potentially achieve immortality, right? So they can indefinitely be maintain their luminosity, right? And they're called the S cluster or S series of stars. I forget what it's the S series or S cluster of stars. And they're right near the core of the Milky Way. And they appear like to be unusually young and way too massive to be so young, and different things. And some things that they're sustaining their energy by consuming some sort of dark matter, and that's how they're explaining their unexpected characteristics. But this is what's talked about in the Vedic wars, right? The Asura Deva kings were trying to harness the rays of the light to achieve immortality, right? And you can't find better evidence than that, right? When you have ancient stories that line exactly up, that's called evidence. That's not called making something fit, right? Also, if you look into Andromeda Galaxy, which we're being pulled towards together, which I actually think is an ancient Vedic story and Hindu story that's talked about, where the Asura and Devas are literally tugging the galaxies. It's talked about, and then all of a sudden, I think it's Shiva who swallows this blue stuff in his throat, blue cosmic energy in his throat, And I think that they're talking about literally the tugging between the Asura and Devas is the Milky Way galaxy and the black hole and the Andromeda galaxy being pulled together and merging and rubbing together. And when it's rubbing together, it new stars are born, right? And also, right in the center of the Andromeda galaxy is a blue ring of stars, a blue disk. That is the blue cosmic energy that Shiva swallows, right? So what is this blue disk that they even have in Andromeda's core? This might be the same type of things that's going on in the Milky Way's core, right? So in Veda in Hinduism, right, they have uh the Samudra Manthan, right? Which is like a very focal moment in Hindu, crucial and focal point in Hindu mythology, right? It's this cosmic war where they're tugging, and they even talk about it as being galaxies, right? And he swallows, the it's the churning of the ocean, right? That churning of, I was thinking, the Samudra Manthan is the churning of the ocean myth, right? Or mythology. It's not a mythology. They're talking about the spiraling of a galaxy and how the two spiraling galaxies are being pulled together, right? The pulling of Andromeda and Milky Way, because when that happens, when they start rubbing together, new stars are born, emerge from that. And that's the immortal elixir. That's the soma. The supernova explosions, that's the soma. New stars being born, that's the soma. And they drink in those elixirs of immortality to emerge as new stars, right? And it talks about in the story, like it relates the impact on Earth, its inhabitants, its environment, its vibration, and its harmonic resonant frequency. They talk about all of this in the Vedas, right? They talk about the cosmic wars and the impact that it has on Earth's beings, the inhabitants, the plants, the animal, everything, its environment, its vibration, and overall harmonic resonant frequency, right? And this is what transpired. It's written in the Rig Veda. It's written in some of the other Vedic stories, the Mahabharata, right? The Purusha is the great cosmic being. And a lot of these mantras is to be one with that Purusha, the cosmic being. And I talked about this, more specifically, we were talking about different races of magnetospheres as well, and how they're literally a race of these plasma beings, right? This solar race of intelligence. They're gateways as well of the sun, right? So this is the Garudas. And right now, the Garuda, the Jovian Garuda of Jupiter, the Garuda magnetosphere of the Jovian Garuda, right, of Jupiter, which is one of the biggest objects in our solar system, is the magnetosphere of Jupiter. If you guys ever want to get into the plasma physics behind it, I got a good book here. This is the physics of the Jovian magnetosphere. This was an ex-library book from the Cambridge Planetary Science Series. And shout out to Professor Chandra Wickraman for his recommendations on certain things and pointing me in the right directions. And this is right from, the Department of Space Physics and Astronomy from Rice University. And these books are, this one was published in the 80s, first published in the 80s. So there's a lot of updates, of course, that have been on this, but they go through some of the mathematics, they go through some of the characteristics and the enormity and the interesting thing that happens within magnetospheres and the plasma waves, things like that, right? So, and if you want to get one about Earth's magnetosphere. This is one that's about Earth's magnetosphere that you guys can get out there. That's from the science laboratories. So if you want to get the actual physics behind it, right? But the spiritual significance behind solar storms, you're not going to find in these books. Because when we have certain alignments transpiring and we have these explosive solar storms, there's certain things that are, and right now we're going through literally a solar purification. And the planet and humanity needs it. And it might be, I think that in 2025, there's such an acceleration happening with these storms that I think it's going to come to a peak in 2025. It's the way it's looking. And it might be so accelerated that it annihilates electronics and things like that. And it might be a purification coming from the sun, right? The Vajra, right? The Vajra thunderbolt of Indra, of Zeus, of all the gods is going to be laid down on humanity, right? And it's talked about in many cultures. There's even a specific writing in ancient Egyptian called the destruction of mankind, where it's some sort of solar event coming in the form of the Eye of Ra and Sekhet, right? This fierce lioness coming from the sky with her red wings, right? And it brings pomegranate waters around Earth. Like, it's talking about the auroras. It's talking about the DNA stripping, RNA stripping, cosmic radiation that would come over us like an ocean. And, this is the immortal elixir as well. This is the dance of the Nataraj, of Shiva, right? And yeah, that's Samudra Manathan. That's a very, very important churning of the ocean. So before we go deeper, guys, we're going to show you our sponsors for today, the Mystical Spiral Store. Let me pull it up. And shout out to the chat room there. I don't know if City Life Project's in the chat, but he's got an awesome MMA channel for those combat sports people out there. He does fight companion type things where while a fight stream is going on, he'll be doing commentary of his own, so you could watch it on your own, and he has the commentary behind. He's a really stand-up dude, Isha. I think he's Canadian. He's from Canada originally, but I think he's living in the States now. Oh, that's the wrong. Hold on. That was my website. This one. Oh, I gotta share screen first with you guys. Hold on. All right. So today's show, of course, is sponsored by the Mystical Spiral Store. Everybody, instead of me trying to show you in the camera here, I could just pull up my website. Everybody out there that has their own little stores and small businesses, a lot of them put it on Etsy and those channels, but their goal is to have their own website, and it's costing me a lot of money to keep these websites running. Even my free information website called themysticalspiral.com. This is the mysticalspiralstore.com. I also have the mysticalspiral.com, which you could find the store from there as well. But I have a free info website as well, everybody. So guys, you can donate in the super chat to keep me up and running with this Space Water podcast. You can also help to be a sponsor of the mysticalspiral.com, where I put fresh new information up there for free all the time. Also, you can support by going to my Patreon. For as low as $2 a month, you could join that. Patreon.com/the Mystical Spiral. You get all exclusive information to my research, where I break down ancient symbols and describe the plasma physics and bacterial genetics that's being talked about within hieroglyphics, ancient Vedic symbolism in Sanskrit. You can't find this anywhere else on the earth. And we also have energy devices for your mind, body, and soul right here. And the world's most naturally ethically sourced and highest quality products you're going to find. If you want high-end, high energy crystals, gemstones, and healing devices, copper healing devices, this is the place to go for your mind, body, and soul. The mysticalspiralstore.com. I give free gifts with every order. You also get free necklace material if you get pendants. The ones that have gemstones, they come with genuine leather necklace material. Just the regular pendants, come with regular necklace material. But I always recommend if you put them on nicer chains if you want to put them on chains. Like I have, maybe one day I'll be able to afford to get the expensive chains with it. But right now, I have like this one silver chain that I put most of my pendants on. Like right now today, I'm wearing high altitude Himalayan quartz, rainbow quartz, skull, and I do custom orders as well. And these ones that we just made here, and this today the sun wasn't out when I did these pictures, so it's like the real light right there. This is rainbow moonstone cabochon gem, and both sides are rainbow and blue flash, and it's got the royal cubit copper tensor coil around here. So this has over 44 inches into that little pendant right there of silver copper. Really incredible. And even if you can't afford the price, you can always do $28 a month for a couple of months to pay it on PayPal. So I have ones of every price range as well. We have pendants at $20, and these ones are $24 each, the shungite and silver copper coils. So we got it all. But these ones are twisted copper royal cubit tensors, silver and copper around gemstones. So I'm not even making a lot of money on these because these cabochons are hand carved from gemstone quality material. So they're really actually very good prices. And we have all sorts of badass products here, everybody. And if you see something sold out that you want, just let me know because I might have more in stock. Just every item is unique and has its own weight and uniqueness. So I put one up at a time. You guys can see there's pretty much everything you want. One of the most badass ones that I still got to write a description up there for it, but it's posted that I'd like to show you guys real quick. Well, shout out to Angel Lori. She got the Super 7 scepter, but this one, the Vega amulet, this is spirit quartz, gem quality spirit quartz with the royal cubit twisted copper tensor coil around that. So badass right there. And spirit quartz forms in its candle-like formations. Very high quality. Very high quality. That one is one of my favorites. Shout out to Chloe. Yeah, Chloe just got a free dragon. See, look at beautiful spiral coil. Look at that. Badass. And this will last a lifetime. And in fact, as the copper oxidizes and ages, it gets even stronger. And you can always contact me if it gets bent out of shape or it gets messed up. You pay for the shipping and I'll help you fix it. So you guys, you could contact me also privately for custom orders. We do human size skulls, any size skulls, dragon skulls, anything skulls. I'm slowly learning how to eventually do all the carvings myself as well. So we're gonna do carvings at the Mystical Spiral, copper. We do the copper products here at the Mystical Spiral. We do the graphics. We have music that we create at the Mystical Spiral. My wife and my daughter help out with a lot of the art and creativity and the music and different things as well. We just made a funny song that came about so naturally. It's so funny. You guys can dance and laugh your ass off too. With pharaohs looking all scared to look at their bank accounts. It's so funny. You guys can check that out right here at YouTube. I posted it earlier. And once again, guys, on my Patreon, you join my Patreon. If for those that join at certain tiers, you get your own coupon codes for my channel, for my website as well. And you can use those coupon codes, whether you're spending $20 or 200, you can use it at any price range. So some people, depending on the tier, they get 20-30% discount codes. So that's patreon.com/the mystical spiral. So these stars that we're talking about, at that are harnessing the elixir, the immortality elixir, guys, you could check that out online. Just look up the article about the S series or S cluster of stars. So let's get back into the Vayu as well. This deity that has to do with cosmic winds and expansion, and how this is so incredible. The times that we're living on now, it's explaining exactly what we're going through. And right now, I talked about the Mars Jupiter conjunction. What they call that, I alluded to earlier in the show. Yeah, so those dragons that Chloe's talking about, they're like, I'll show you guys. I got right now is the year of the dragon, and these are golden healer dragons. Some of them even have rainbow in them. This one's got some rainbow in the nose. These are golden healer quartz. You can't see it too good on the video here. Maybe if I pull it back a little bit. But these are for psychic protection, the golden healers. And these are ones that you could carry with you. I have some of them that I'm making into pendants that are really cool. And golden healer is one of my favorite for forming a psychic shield and for visualization. Do I have one of my palm stones? I have one that has dendrites. I might be in the other room, but I might have another one here. This is just a regular golden healer palm stone, which is super high quality and like see-through. I don't know if you guys can even get the gist of it, but it's got rainbow and flash all over it as well. This is like a see-through gem quality of golden healer. And for building a psychic shield, for visualization with it, it's really good to use like a golden healer quartz, because you're going to imagine um a golden egg, like, but it's going to come out with golden rays first that's you're emitting from the golden healer, right? And from the center of your hands, right? The energy that you're holding in your hands, and you're evoking the golden healer colors, right? That's going to form these golden rays of light that you're materializing and visualizing, right? And it's going to form around you like a bell or an egg or like a Taurus type, all the way around you, even a few feet below your feet into the ground, right? A big egg shape or something like that, and over you, right? And this is a psychic shield. And as bad things come your way, even if somebody shoots you a bad look, somebody, you know, throws negative energy at you, you can have even bad Wi-Fi and things like that coming at you. You can imagine this shield literally being like a sun around you, like a golden sun, and any negative energy gets incinerated off the flames coming off the sun, right? And that psychic shield, you visualizing it using the golden healer quartz, you can have it in each hand, and then you can always have that, you're imprinting that into the crystal as well. And then you don't even really need to carry it with you after that. You can just have that memorization of it and pull that up psychically and materialize it and activate that at any time. But if you want to carry it with you, that would be even stronger until you can get that visualization down, so it becomes like a mantra of a psychic shield, right? And you can activate that at any time you think you're about to go into a moment where you might be psychically attacked, or someone might be eyeballing you. Say you got to go and go for an interview at a job, And you know the guy's going to give you a little hard time in the interview and test you a little bit. Well, you got to put that psychic shield up before you go in, so you're able to just hammer it, right? And you won't have any distortions coming your way. You won't hear those little psychic intrusions that come your way. And your visualization is very important for that. Your belief in it is it's crucial, right? If you have any doubts, that psychic shield goes down, right? As soon as you start exploring those doubts in your mind, if you're not fully locked in to what you believe, your system is already failing. You already got holes in your aura where shit's getting through, penetrating you. Those cosmic winds that you're emitting from you're a sun, you're a star, right? You have biophotons, you have emanations coming out of you. Those emanations got to be fierce. Fierce. It's just like that if you're competing in combat sports, right? You have to be locked in where your rays of light coming out you, those emanations have belief, have timing, where you're in the freaking matrix, right? It's the same way spiritually when you're battling energies, right? You have to have that warrior spirit, and you have to have all those forms, right? It's crucial to have all those forms, and Vayu has all different forms, right? And I'm right now today, I'm wielding my psychic warriors, right, to chase away any bad thoughts as well today. I'm using my psychic my psychic dream warriors right here. These are for chasing away bad dreams. These natural wands of amethyst, and these have been charged at the North Salem, New York Balance Rock during solar alignments, the red granite megalithic dolmen right here. Ba 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 ba. We could beat the cosmic beat those cosmic negative forces, right? We have to have that prana. That inner winds of us is the prana, right? The in Hindu and Vedic, they talk about the prana, right? Shout out to Chloe too for the super chat. For the super chat. We can even do a little reading for her later. But we have all sorts of versions of energy that come out of our body and come out of suns and come different forms of electricity, electrical forces and magnetic forces in the universe that's talked about all in these mantras and hymns, right? And they talk about in the Vedic writings that even controlling the Vayu, the cosmic winds, is the most difficult thing to do in the cosmos. But it's also like it's our inner emanations as well. But this is the basic of the yoga sadhana, right? It's being able to control that inner Vayu, where that your inner winds, your inner breath, right? And this is going, then you have to purify and calm your body. And this happens through your senses, through your minds, through your prana, right? And only Vayu can control Vayu, they say. That's the trick of it all, right? That the human ego can't control the Vayu, right? It's under rule of the cosmos, the cosmic Vayu, right? And this controls our individual Vayu, right? So it's literally streams of light that we're harnessing. Like if you think about it, we're walking antennas, and the spinal current pulsating out of our spine and our brain and our biofields, all the emanations that's coming out of us, even the biophotons that are coming out of us, our emanations, those are being absorbed by the solar winds and by the light that's coming from the sun. That light touches us and absorbs our emanations coming out of us and pulls them back into the sun, pulls them back into the moon with the moonlight. The moon absorbs it, the sun absorbs it, right? And they absorb our emanations and then send out those light codes according to our own vibrations and sounds, right? So we're being literally evolved from our own doings, our own vibration, our own sound, our own solar logos, right? So in the earth, right, we also have winds, right? The winds have electrical currents, earth currents, energetic currents in them. This is also part of the Vayu, right? Vayu has to do with those magnetic and electrical forces, the Naga, the serpents and snakes that have to do with our planet and the cosmic winds. So the Naga are the winds on our planet that are coming off of the lakes and streams, but they're also the solar emissions and electrical forces and messages that are traveling within the plasma of the cosmos, right? These are the semi-divine Naga, right? And they're battling with the Garuda magnetospheres, right? They're battling, right? And Vayu is the most dominant force of the atmosphere, right? Just as Agni is the fire that's in the earth and in the sun in heavens, that all these fires forms. Well, Vayu is the wind forms, right, of it. And it has to do with clouds, plasma clouds, gases that are in motion and movement through the Rudra sound, right? All of these breezes and cosmic winds is the Vayu in Vedic and Hindu. And later on, it changes. Like they use Varuna and different names later on, Mitra and Varuna and different names. And Hindu tend to use different words for these deities later on. They take on different words. Like even Rudra, he becomes Shiva, right? Uh, Things like that. So, but it's the same thing. It's just it takes on different forms, right? And like I said, they have mantras, specific mantras for yoga and for Hindu, for Vedic, and some of the mantras are, you know, the most famous one is the Gayatri mantra, the solar mantra. But that's the one that's been used the longest, and they've been using it to this very day. And they've been using it in many ways. And the English translation for the Gayatri mantra is basically they're saying Om Earth, Om atmosphere, Om heaven, Om they're basically saying the 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 cosmos, the atmospheres, the earth, they're aligning them through mantra and chant, right? And they're basically meditating upon the supreme divine solar creator that he may direct our minds, right? That's basically what the mantra is saying. But they're saying like Om Bhur Bhuva Sva. That means Om Earth, atmosphere, heaven. So that's the Gayatri mantra start, right? They say Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Sva. That's like Om Earth, Om atmosphere, Om the heavens, right? And then they go into like Tat Savatur, it's a chant, but they're saying we meditate upon the supreme effulgence of this divine solar creator, that he may direct our minds, right? So that's basically the most sacred prayer of the Hindus, is that Gayatri mantra. And when I had the Sun Yogi on, Uma Sankar, my friend the Sun Yogi, he talked about the Gayatri mantra, right? And it's used over all Hinduism, and it's people recite it every day. And even Westerners, yoga uses it, right? And all sorts of people use it. It's one of the oldest chants that has been on a continuous basis used throughout history and all over the world. So it's generated some power with it, or because of that. But the Sanskrit version is the power, and pronouncing it the right way. There's a reason why it's called the language of the gods, right? It's about the primal sounds of the universe and harnessing them and aligning yourself to that light. And this is what the war was over. And this all has to do with the nakshatras as well, the different nakshatras. And they talk about these stories, and some of these stories, we have to relook at these stories, right? We have to reevaluate these stories, especially that we have more um things that get revealed not through just science, but through our collective consciousness, through you know people living their lives, and you know remembering things that have been lost, that's imprinted within us. These need to be recognized. And I wanted to bring up, I have it here written. I just got to look at the name. I got my notebook out for a second. Just got to look at I know it's in the Puranas, but I was trying to look up the name of this. Is it the Sagara? I don't know, but I have it written down somewhere, the name of the solar horse, because there's a famous story in the Puranas that talks about the river Ganges, which is also called the river of dolphins. If people don't know that in part of the Ganges River, there's a pure water, freshwater dolphin. There's not many freshwater dolphins on the earth, but we have it in the Ganges River, also in the Amazon, right? And these freshwater dolphins are so amazing. But the Ganges is now like a cesspool of a river, and the dolphins, they're here. They sense what's going on in the magnetic field, right? There's a reason why they're also called the messengers of Apollo, of the sun god, right? They broadcast the chorus of the sun. What's going on in the magnetic field, that electron-driven chorus, they broadcast that through the seas, and it harmonizes the plant life and the water, and all the waters. It stabilizes and harmonizes it and keeps it in balance and within the planet. But now the magnetic fields, the sonar of dolphins are being destroyed, even through 5G installations beneath the ground and stuff. That's possibly throwing off, you know, it could throw off dolphins. I'm not saying it for sure. I don't think there's any proven thing, but imagine, I mean, they work through sonar, right? Um, and people out there, you got to take my show for entertainment only, for YouTube purposes only. When I say certain things, this is just for entertainment, for my own discoveries, sometimes my own findings. But you guys got to do your own soul searching out there. Don't ever take, you know, my advice from hearing me say something on here. You guys got to do your own soul searching. But it's a known fact that they're installing 5G towers in beneath the waters for submarines and planes and fighter planes to be able to communicate. That's known. They've done that, and that could throw off the sonar of the dolphin and whale. And they work by magnetic properties as well. I'm sure they have magnetite within them as well. And dolphins also symbolically move through the plasma waves. The information coming from the sun moves like dolphins diving through the waves, and they're on magnetic field lines. And it's described like that in mythology. Apollo is the sun god Apollo. Well, his messengers are dolphins, and he's always shown holding them on these big leashes. He's trying to, and they're diving through the waters, and he's got them on these cords. I mean, it's the magnetic field lines holding them, the information traveling through the plasma waves. It's incredible. But yeah, it's the knowledge gets lost, and it becomes like mythology and earthly symbolism. And now they think it's even Poseidon. Poseidon, yes, is also related to the waters on Earth, but he is the god of the waters around Earth, the magnetosphere, and the powers of that magnetosphere. And the trident that comes from the sun is the solar loop. That's the trident. Sometimes it's shown as a thunderbolt trident, sometimes it's shown as a golden noose. It's the same shepherd, sometimes a shepherd's crook or staff. But there's a story in the Puranas that has to do with this. And right now, this is the time during this Guru Mangala yoga time, August 15th, this time on, like we're just ending this powerful, but we're in that Mars Jupiter in Taurus, right? In the eye of the bull. And where me and my family sit in this is incredible as well, because I put it on Patreon, right? Me and my mother were Cancer Capricorn. My daughter and me are now Cancer Capricorn. Cancer Capricorn is a powerful axis, two gates, summer and winter solstice gates, right? They're the two gates where souls move in and out of the planet. And the Cancer Capricorn axis is really what's going on in the Mars Jupiter conjunction right now. And they're in the eye of Taurus, the bull, right? Well, my wife is the Taurus. So right now, it's literally how it's looked at in Vedic astrology, depending on the Cancer Capricorn connection that's in the eye of the bull that's going on, right? Depending on the Cancer Capricorn connection during this Mars Jupiter conjunction can affect the collective consciousness of your families, friends around you, different things. So I think where me and my family fit in the overall our role in certain things, I think that would depend on a lot of connections that we make with each other during this alignment as well. Really powerful, because me and my daughter are the Cancer Capricorn, you know, and my wife is a Taurus, so it's really interesting. And then this Mars Jupiter conjunction happening right now, and then when I realized that, like 5 seconds later, it was right during sunrise in the morning when I realized this, and my daughter comes outside. It was like good morning, and then all of a sudden a frog emerged. Right with the rise of the sun, we just found a frog jumping out of nowhere. We were like, whoa, that was so, and then the frog hopping on the lily pad coming from the waters, right? That symbolism is used in solar symbolism. It's incredible. You know, there's actually Beckett. It's a well-known symbolism with the frog jumping on the solar waters, just like the dolphin jumping and then all that. There's a known solar mythology with that exact story. So it's really incredible. But yeah, this story from the Puranas that I'm talking about, this solar story, is about bringing cosmic waters from the cosmos down to Earth. And this is why the Ganges was named the Ganges, after its cosmic coordinate. And Varuna becomes the god of the sea, also in like Hindu, right? And Vedic, and like, you know, he's also the god of the waters. Varuna, Vayu is those solar winds. But this famous story talks about the city of Benares, right? The eternal city of the Ganges, which is now called uh, Varanasi, this holy city, right? This is right where the River of Dolphins goes through, right? Right, this area, and it flows down eventually, I think, into the Bay of Bengal. But this famous story of the Puranas involves a digging of an ocean, but it's a solar ocean that people aren't remembering. It's clearly stated this way. It's a cosmic ocean, but it's a digging of the ocean that brings down the heavenly Ganges, right? The sons of Sagara, the sons of the special solar horses. Remember, they're solar horses. These are not horses on Earth, these symbolisms. They're talking about solar symbolism. The horses are the rays of light, just like the cattle of Indra are the rays of the light. When you see, you know, the solar is the stampeding force of the sun coming down. When you see the cattle, it's a different form of the rays of light, right? But the horse is the storm, the stampeding force, right? And there's this famous story where a heavenly Ganges comes down and brings it down to Earth. And there's also involves them going to find this solar horse in the center of Earth and then incinerates it into a pile of ash from the heavenly Ganges coming down, right? So what is happening here? What is going on? And they're literally talking about they had to they had to dig, right? They had to dig into the ocean, and people translate it as an ocean on Earth, that it's in the middle of Earth. But no, that's not what they were talking about. They were talking about around Earth, digging a hole. And it's literally talking about first digging the black sunspot, the cave on the sun, which erupts a storm that brings the heavenly waters down upon Earth, right? So if you're digging into the sun, that's the sunspot. That makes solar storms. Magnetic fields start twisting around. It forms those solar loops, and it brings a it brings that storm down on the planet, right? And it brings down the heavenly waters, right? Which they say this is the origins of the Ganges River on Earth, was the waters that fell from the sun. And it says that literally their ancestors prayed to Shiva to bring down the heavenly Ganges, and Shiva gave his grace and filled up the Bay of Bengal with the Sagadara, the solar horse. But further, it had to dig into the ocean, the solar ocean, for that celestial waters to come down. Welcome, Lauren. Welcome, Lauren Fowler. I used to know this guy, Barry Fowler. He was a black guy. But his dad drove a truck. Barry Fowler. Riley, Rage, Magic Micah, Tana 6 is in the house. Tana Rain Castaldo. Chloe, Riley Rage, Merlin and the Fey King's Crown, Ryan Reeves. Good day. Good day, Ryan. Good day. City Life Project, that's my boy Isha. Who else? Shout out Lisa Lynn. So good to have you here too. Who else is out there? Did I shout everybody out? Yeah, come on. Celebrate us, guys. I'm ready to buy my own super chat. Really cool right here. This is the Space Water Podcast, episode 25. We're talking about Vayu, the Cosmic Winds, and the Nakshatras as well is related to this. And the Gayatri mantra is used within the Nakshatra Loka, right? The greatest chant in the Vedas. And this connects to the inner meaning of the word Loka of Nakshatras. This chant is about aligning those three worlds, right? The sky, the earth, the heavens, the Svarga or Sva, right? This is the heaven, the Bhuva, the sky, and the Bur, right? This is the earth. And they have a myth about drinking of the soma and the wives of the soma that comes along with the myth of the nakshatras. Welcome, Monique. And anybody that wants to do a purchase this weekend, I'm doing incredible free gifts. All sorts of free gifts. We are giving out Herkimer diamonds this weekend. For everybody that orders on my website, we doing Herkimer diamonds. Little free gifts for everybody. Not little, these are, in my opinion, priceless. So the myth of the nakshatras, these and the wives of the soma. Guys, you got to realize this is groundbreaking translations. I'm going to be showing you guys in the next coming weeks, months, years, how even the mythologies that relate to fairies and water nymphs and dawn maidens and these are nymphs that have to do with intelligences within the plasma that are creating things in the cosmos, new stars, bathing. The dawn maidens are the ones that attend to the bathing of new stars and new life and new creations. And they're the horrors of the cosmos. They travel everywhere within the waters and bring about new life. Right? These are all, there's a reason why they do symbolism where fairies are dancing around golden rings. The golden rings are the rings that come from the sun, the loops from the sun, the rings of Zoroaster, right? So we're going to be going deep into it like that. But the nakshatras are the 28 so-called daughters of the Prajapati guy, the king, right? The wives of Soma. They became the wives of Soma, the moon god, right? But this is just the cosmic waters at night, the traveling of the waters at night. and how the auroras come in, and the magnetotail swallows these waters, and these waters are injecting new life into the planet, right? And the intelligences and spirits that come in are these intelligences, right? And we have a certain cycle for the 28 lunar mansions, right? We have them even in Tuscany, and we have your own Tuscan mansions. They have some in Chaldean, and they have Vedic, right? The Vedic is the more, I mean, the oldest I would say that we have right now is those the 28 daughters, the 28 lunar mansions, if you want to say as well. And the myth that goes along with it is that the nakshatras, they are the 28 daughters of the Prajapati, who became the wives of the Soma, right? The moon god guy. Daksha Prajapati allowed Soma to marry his daughters. And he had one condition, right? That Soma would create be with them all and treat them all equally. But of course, he favored one in the story, right? And some, he would visit like one wife per day, but after a while, he started to show a preference to Rohini, and he was spending a little extra time with Rohini. Now, Rohini is a certain sun star system. It's a certain sign in the nakshatra. It's one of the mansions, right? And it's one of the lunar mansions. So this is a very interesting story, right? The god of the waters is, well, some of the Varuna is one of the gods of the waters, right? And I mean, Anki is like in the Sumerian, Anki is the god of the waters. He's the god of the celestial abyss. And then you have Apis is the waters, but then there's gods of the waters, like, and Varuna is one of them, right? Indra is also a god of the waters. Mitra is another god of the waters. Mitra and Varuna go together, like Enki and Enlil. So it depends on what culture you're talking about. That there are all the different gods of the waters. I mean, Greek, they have Poseidon, right? But I mean, you have Enki he's the god of the celestial abyss. He's the god of the waters, and Enlil is Vayu. Enlil is the god of the winds, the breath, the cosmic breath, right? So that would be your answer to that, Lynn. Then shout out to Lynn Earthling. Glad you're here as well. But yeah, I would look into the certain myths that you'll see, and you'll start to realize what I'm talking about. And this is where the waxing and the waning of the moon comes from as well, the myths of the nakshatras, right? When the moon transits the nakshatras, these are the symbolic wives of Soma, and it activates the different aspects of our psyche, and our what our soul wants to be, and the different changing moods and frequencies that come out of us, right? So that's sort of where the nakshatras fit. And there's also sometimes there's 27 used, sometimes there's 28. It depends. Some use that extra, some use just 27. But I mean, there's also the Chaldean, there's the Tuscany ones, and there's different things that you guys could see. But the nakshatras is about going beyond the zodiac, right? It's about the knowledge of the stars, and even beyond the zodiac, right? So it's the original language of the stars for the ancient sages, and they're going into a whole bunch of different alignments. And like I said, right now we have that all powerful Guru Mangala yoga going on, right? The Mars Jupiter alignment. Really powerful energy. You're supposed to go, but you can't stop listening. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what we're here for, right? And who else could do music, can do gemstones and copper devices, and then do combat sports? and then do like write a music for you guys, and then we'll go into mythology and plasma physics and everything else like that. No one can get that here, right? But yeah, there's all sorts of info we could get in onto the mantras of yoga, right? Right now is a powerful time with Ganesha. There's different flowers that Ganesha love. Uh, Rohini. And Ganesha has to do with the sun as well, the powers of the sun and eliminating evil on earth, right? But mantra is about having that divine. Oh, shout out Kristanik. Shout out to Kristanik 999. That's what's up. You also guys get to donate at PayPal if you guys want to donate to support the show. And larger donations, I'll send you guys gifts in the mail as well. That's at PayPal is at moontribe712 at hotmail.com. It's called the Mystical Spiral. Moontribe712 at hotmail.com. That's my PayPal. You guys can find that at themysticalspiral.com, the link to PayPal and everything else like that. But I do highly recommend you guys check out my Patreon. I put weekly information up there, sometimes a few a day. Sometimes I won't put anything up there for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'll put like 4 things up in one day. So I put a lot. There's thousands of posts too. I've been doing it for years now. So there's archives and like a keyword search. You can literally type in something on Patreon and doom scroll through it. Like I have so many archives on there with info you can't get anywhere else, even some personal experiences, UFO encounters that I've gotten on video, things like that, like with those reddish orange orbs that form in formation and different things like that, all over the Hudson Valley here. I've gotten them several times. You guys can find all sorts of research that I've been doing and inside access into my book that I'm writing, The Golden Noose of the Gods. Also, there's Saraswati is another god of the waters in Vedic, and they tend to name waters in India after these cosmic coordinates, right? But prana and speech is like the solar logos. It's the god of the divine word, the god of you know, being able to get that out of you as well. You create sound. Prana is about sound as well, and that's about the Rudra as well, coming from the sun, right? We're individually we're like suns and stars, and they have different mantras for not just for the sun, but for the waters, for the dawn, for the wind, the solar winds, for the goddess. There's not too many goddesses in Vedic, but there's the goddess of the dawn, Ushas, right? There's specific hymns to Ushas and the music that comes with the dawn and the birds. That it's the birds literally broadcasting that. And yeah, I'm right on the Hudson River, um, lower Hudson Valley, along Westchester and Rockland. I'm right along that. Very powerful energies here. This is why they went to war in this area. The Battle of Stony Point happened here, where they literally fought over the port right there, kind of like the pier type thing. It's where the lighthouse is. And yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they put the Indian Point nuclear power plant right in that area too. They always put on ley lines, and credible UFO encounters even over the nuclear reactors when I was a kid in the early 80s. A lot of stuff transpired here. We had a whole UFO flap, they called it, that was going on in the early, and I was born in the 70s, so like the early 80s was my shit as a kid. So I remember all that going on the news and everywhere. And I had a few things I've seen over myself in the 80s, and then later uh in 2015, 2017, 2020s. I had a couple in the last couple of years as well. I got a couple of them on video that you guys can check out. But yeah, the sound current, you know, that that sound current is very important, and it also has to do with the currents coming from the sun. And right now we have incredible spiritual things transpiring in us because of the storms that are coming from the sun, and they're coming out of nowhere, and they're coming even from the far side of the sun, right? That means we're going to have explosive events impacting our lives coming from out of nowhere, coming from way out in left field, coming from across the way, something that you wouldn't expect that could just impact your life for the good or for the bad. It depends on what kind of energy you're harnessing and what kind of alignments are taking place. Zeralath, immortal, the immortal elixir of the soma. We're getting into it today. We are talking deep about what the soma is. The plasma waters, the Vayu cosmic wind. And yeah, I mean, talking about Vedic being the language of the gods is not just a fancy, cool little name. They're the Vedas show us the oldest form of the Sanskrit language, the language of mantra, the language of hymn and solar harmony and stellar cosmic harmony. And the oldest form of mantra yoga, right, this is the central of all the yogas. This is a classical solar yoga, right? And this is how to harness and tap into the streams of light. And this is how you can evolve and be one with the universe. And I think at times we forget, we try to credit everything to aliens, but our ancestors had much more powers and much more intelligence and knowledge than we give them credit for. And even in the Vedas, thousands of years ago, they talk about sound comes from the sun. And here at the Space Water Podcast, what's our quote? We're diving into the sound of the light. And this is what's going on here, right? You got to understand the sound of the light. And sound comes from the sun. It's the nature of light. And this is why the sun is continually pulsating om, 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 om. This is the primal beat of Shiva's cosmic drum. Shiva's cosmic drum is the face of the sun, which is pulsating om, 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 right? And this is the primal sound of the solar deity of the universe, right? This is the secret, there's we have that inner sun, that heartbeat. That's the same thing, right? And we have those biophoton emanations coming out of us, and we affect everything our emanations touch. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's the primal sounds of the universe. This is Vedic. This is the Vedic language. This is the Sanskrit language. The language of uh um you know they have different ways of pronouncing it. Like you have to say each vowel is a different primal sound of the universe and things like that, right? So like you're pronouncing some of it through the roof of your mouth, through your palate, through different ways of even pronouncing it. I don't think most of the people that do it nowadays are even like, probably even chanting it or pronouncing it or doing it the right way. I can't think of the word of the name that I was trying to think of the etymology, the name, but there's different what do they call rajas, different hymns and things like that as well. Tana, yeah, I have to. What time is it? Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. But guys, we'll be getting into the Space Water podcast. I'm gonna be going live again later on with the Mystical Spiral store. Guys, this has been episode 25 of the Space Water podcast. No doubt, you guys, we're dropping info on you. Groundbreaking information, guys. We're connecting the dots, and I need all of you to contribute to the light. We can't do this without you all. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. For today, once again, we're sponsored by the Mystical Spiral Store.com. You guys, you can get, look at how beautiful that is. Spirit quartz with the tensor coil. What? Royal cubit. Incredible, everybody. You could get merch here as well. We have everything from readings. We got where the readings are up here somewhere. Where is it? Reading, yep, you got readings here. Crystals, you got every kind of crystals, tensors, copper tensors, harmonizers, pendants, handmade items, bracelets, and then look, you got merch, you got gift cards, program crystals, and gemstones. But we got crazy merch. We're either going to have the Space Water podcast merch available soon, dive into the Sound of the Light logo. But you got Spiral Out merch, even champion sweatshirts of the Spiral Out merch, all sorts of high quality merch here. Mugs, uh, canvases that we made, all sorts of stuff. So everybody's getting a free gift with every order. And this weekend, from now until the end of Sunday, we got Herkimer Diamonds coming as free gifts, everybody. So check me out, the mysticalspiralstore.com. My name is Rock Castaldo. This is the Space Water Podcast, exclusively on YouTube, and will soon to be on the Forbidden Knowledge News Network as an audio podcast. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a good day, and spiral out.